Let's go. What's up, Doc Raider? Oh, let's go. Let's go. Often imitated, never duplicated. That bull with no hair that shouts like Ric Flair. Woo! What? Woo! Woo! The Raider Bear! Rick and Morty Raiders.
That makes me laugh every time. The end. Rick and Morty Raiders. What's up, everybody? Welcome to the show. Appreciate you all tuning in to Raider Bear Live. And without further ado, let me look at no longer a doing and saying out loud, Tradish. Raider Bear Live. First comment. Woo. MVP to Josh Russell. What's up, Josh? Welcome to the show. Numero uno, El Jefe. Number one comment of the evening. First person winning all the time. Josh Russell. The heavyweight champion of the world. Second place. Carlos Boy Kids. Carlos, what are you doing in here? I haven't seen you in a minute. What's up, brother? Welcome to the show. Always there for a Raider Bear. Appreciate you. I have the itchums just because there's dust in my room, and so it's catching up with me. So don't start making comments about that, okay? Just don't do that. Third place, my bronze medal. Kim Calhoun. What's up, Kim? Welcome to the show. Always there for Raider Bear. So let me put him up right here. Josh Russell with that nice hay and that great profile picture. Carlos Boykins looking sharp, my man, looking sharp. And Kim Calhoun, in her profile pic with the greatest logo on God's green earth. All right, so let's keep it going. Travis Kelly, what's up? Welcome to the show. Anthony Penn, always there for a bear. Bobby Raider Ware. What's up, brother? Welcome to the show. Raiders! One more time for my guy, Bobby Ware. Corinna Trujillo, always there, supporting Raider Bear and Raider Bear Live. And every time I see her, she supports us so much. It reminds me to bring it up. So I appreciate that, Corinna Trujillo. So if you are watching me on Facebook, please subscribe to Facebook and Raider Bear Live. And you just look right down there. There's a green badge right next to the blue thumbs up. Click on that and you're on your way to subscribe to Raider Bear Live. And it's just $5 a month. And if you do the math, and I have for a year, it's basically the price of a pair of jeans. So, and that helps me do a lot for the homeless, for St. Jude's. I also supported, sounds like bragging, but 28 kids in Africa going to school, paid for their lunch, their education. This guy. So if you ever wanted to contribute to charity and have a good time and win cool things on auctions I do on Facebook, check me out, Raider Bear Family page on Facebook. And please subscribe and push, follow, and hit that little ring bell so that on YouTube, you will know when I go on. And I really appreciate you guys. Welcome to the show. Speaking of which, Jim Vanderlyn, Bear! Keep it up, Jim. Tony Make It Dip. What's up, Tony Make It Dip? John LaJoy, how you doing, brother? Welcome to the show. My good friend Bob and his beautiful wife Casey in the house. They just got a brand new Toyota truck, and it's sharp. Let's see. Travis Kelly. What's up, brother? John the Leon in the house. What's up, John? Welcome to the show. Denton Rhodes, always supporting Space Force. That's my guy right there. Doc Raider, what's up? Hi to Tommy. Hi, Doc. Hi, Val. Welcome to the show. Troy Gill, how you doing, Troy? Welcome to the show. Charles Feria, what's up now? Welcome to the show, Charles. Appreciate you. Troy Gill, my offer to replace that hat still stands. All you got to do is send me a hat size. I guess on the last one, I was wrong. He wanted a certain hat he saw on my show. And every once in a while, I try to do fun things like that for my viewers. And so I said, sure, I'm going to send you this hat. And then I sent him a hat, and it was close to the right size, but not really. Maybe for one of his kids, I think, because the way he told it to me, it sounded like I was way off. But the offer still stands. Troy Gill, I'll take care of you if you want to do that. Yes, and for those, thank you for reminding me, Doc Raider. For those of you who don't know, today is National Me Day, and what I mean by National Me Day is, I mean it's actually National Joe Day, and I am a Joe. Everybody else calls me Raider Bear or Bear, but my real name is Joe. I just left the Raider reaction show for you, Tony. Make it dip. That's all right, man. That guy's been doing his show for a long time. Let's see. Matthew Lincoln, how much you want for Hopkins? Matthew, I think we could get the Hopkins deal done. I really do. And now that you're hearing more and more that he realizes he would have to restructure his money and he thinks he can do a deal with Las Vegas, I'm like, oh, well, now obviously he didn't say that right out of his mouth, but what he said is I'm willing to restructure my money to make, where I'm going to go work. So he didn't say the Raiders, but he said where he ends up going, he'll make it work. So if that's his logic, that I'm on board. I mean, because everyone's going to be first to rush to say he's old, okay, that he's got a lot of baggage on him. He looks like he's somewhat injury prone now in his older days. No doubt about all those things. But what we also have no doubt about is we're the Raiders. And the Raiders have always selectively picked great talent that still had something left in the tank and wanted to prove it. And they came and proved it with us. And I don't know why the tradition should change now. I mean, I love that guy, and we do need a number 2. And what hell of a number 2 he'd be. It would be more like 1A and 1B. Check it out. rnforellifer.com. Don't forget, check out rnforellifer.com. The guy who works there, his name's Fabian Mendoza. He's dope. He's a good friend of mine. We go back years. He sponsored my show for years. Just a great, great guy. Great, great company. rnforellifer.com. Don't put RN4L Life. Because if you do that, you get registered nurses life. And it's a whole nother page. And you get so lost. I'm like, wait a minute. What the hell happened here? Anna Diaz Rincon, always there for Raider Bear. Hi, love. John Leon, you were first on YouTube. I give you that. John Holland, what's up, JTB? Welcome to the show. My little brother in the house. Paul Summers, what's up? Welcome to the show. Ramiro Cash Throw joining us on YouTube. Daryl Neal, how you doing, man? Welcome to the show. Oh, don't get me wrong. I have my stuff I want to cover, but I'm just trying to let everybody get in here real quick. And then I promise we'll go strictly football. Breeze Raiders Nation, how you doing, man? 305-561 in the house. Travis Kelly, don't rat me out on my own show like that. Don't bring Facebook stuff on this show, okay? Not on the show. I don't know how this became that, but every once in a while I do things with my hands when I'm talking. It just sort of becomes a thing. But I do. I love Coach. Yeah, Bear, it's been a while. I've been holding down the job. How's the health and what's the new news about my Raiders? Right on. I'm glad to hear your job's going well. That means you're probably making good money. You're working out so hard. My health is doing real well, and I appreciate you asking. And more importantly, or as importantly, I should say, what's going on with the Raiders? There are those that are confused by how the Raiders are making their decisions right now. It seemed like they were going kind of 50-50, if not 70-30 on the idea of who to bring in right away to start making the team better. And you just saw a lot of offensive pieces coming in, and some people were getting agitated. Now, I didn't agree with that. I went over the list of how many guys we brought in on defense, and I think it's something like 9 guys among the guys we brought in are defensive players. So, I just disagree with that. And sometimes the public and the press, which unfortunately I have to accept I'm a part of, even though I try to be something else. You know what I mean? I'm a truth teller. You know what I mean? I see things how they are and I speak it. You know what I mean? It's sometimes it's from absolute knowledge, and other times it's just I have a I don't like to say a hunch because it's not really a hunch. I mean, I do still study. I look at what's said, I look at what's done, and then I start bringing things together. Is basically what I do. And I'll go back, years, and like, for example, I've been trying to tell everyone to get ready, because, we're watching this like long sequel of Game of Thrones, Raider style. And it's only a matter of time to me before Mark Davis has a very bad exit, a very bad exit. Either he's going to be forced out by the NFL or he's going to cock up some cheap fake story about how he wants to go off and relax in Tahiti. So he's selling the team, and then it'll all be BS. Every word of it. I mean, he's going to be forced to sell because the NFL doesn't like how he's handled himself so far. They just don't. You know what I mean? And then now the move to Vegas, when they were asking him directly not to do that, they were saying to him, I have this on 100% source. The NFL was saying to Mark Davis, we'll help you build a stadium. We'll help you build it in the Bay Area. We'll help you build it in San Diego, whichever one of these high markets you want to stay in, San Jose, San Francisco, whatever. Just give us time. And Mark didn't buy it. And that's probably the only thing he's done that I agree with. I wouldn't have believed the NFL either. I mean, why would you? They lied to his dad, for decades. Then when he finally did get back into Oakland, they made his time there living hell, and got in the way of everything. Just it was ridiculous. Travis Kelly said, thank you everyone for the prayers, and my wife is doing much better. Right on. Pete Vasquez, what's up, brother? Welcome to the show. And Carlos Boykins, I'm sorry, I just rattled on you. What's hot right now is with the Raiders is that there is proof now, factual proof that the Raiders are talking to the Cardinals, not just about Anthony Hopkins, but about that number 3 spot they have. That's why any sort of business deal is taking a little bit longer than it might normally. Normally, if you're interested in a guy at that level that gets a contract like that, et cetera, it takes a couple days and that's it. Now we're going on a week or so. And, there's still this flirting, but in truth, it's not that. All you're doing is negotiating dollars. That's it. And negotiating picks and things like that. And then sooner or later you pull the trigger and then you get a guy, X amount of picks. And then the Raiders give them a guy and X amount of picks and we walk off in the sunset. Now, the rumor, or I'd say questions about whether or not Hunter Renfrow could be a part of that equation. Absolutely. I mean, they've been preparing us for days now saying that, guys, don't think anyone can't make the list of people that could get traded. We all thought Darren Waller was bulletproof. I even thought Darren Waller was bulletproof, but obviously he was not. And not only not bulletproof, but kind of gangster how they did it. Oh, you had a wedding just now? You're really happy? Okay. You're going to New York. That's rough, man. Dustin King. What's up, DK? Welcome to the show. What do you think are our draft needs and what do we do with the number 7 pick? Good question, John. Appreciate you. Give my baby sister a huge hug and kiss for me, and Monalay if she's there. John, I would say to you, honestly, the biggest need for us right now is look for your young quarterback of the future, not necessarily later. In other words, we've all talked about Caleb Williams, the kid from USC, and that is an interesting thing. But there's no guarantee we'll get that guy. He's just one guy. We don't have any idea where we're going to be drafting next year. So unless we got a number 1 pick, we could be planning on a guy and not getting him. And so to me, that's foolish. You just can't do it. Even though the kid's talked about us and wants to be with us, that doesn't mean we're going to have the draft pick at the right time and not, and be ahead of everyone else. I just don't know that that's going to happen. So I would say to you that you go for a guy now, because these guys you have in front of you now can get the job done. And if you get up to 3, you're going to get your pick of Will Levis, Anthony Richardson, and a handful of other guys. But obviously those handful of other guys really don't apply. It's pretty much either going to be Anthony Richardson or Will Levis. Now, I would have told you that it was a stone cold lock that it's going to be Anthony Richardson. But I'm hearing those whispers after Will Levis' pro day. I mean, we all saw it. The guy has a missile launcher for a right arm. I mean, he just does. He took 2 steps, threw from his hips, and a dude threw a ball that looked like you needed to have plane tickets for it. I mean, it was nice and right on the money. Now, obviously, So did Jamarcus Russell, you know, you know what I mean? But fast forward now, you know, scouts have learned from that kind of thing. You got to check their character too and things like that. And from what I've heard, Will Levis's character is high. You know what I mean? He also throws a lot of interceptions and makes a lot of mistakes, but I still have my fingers crossed that if we do move up to 3, it would be to take him. I just feel like he's the most football ready guy that you just then have to teach the offense. I don't want a football guy that we bring in that costs that much and we have to teach him football. You know, and for those of you who don't know that, Anthony Richardson's only really started at quarterback for like a handful of games. You know what I mean? I think it's 11, you know what I mean? Which is literally nothing. I mean, it's just nothing, you know what I mean? Because you got to remember at the college level, he's facing inferior talent. So he's never felt, no, I shouldn't say never, but very rarely has faced anyone that is a surefire, I'm going to the NFL next year. And then Anthony Richardson had to face that guy's pressure or that guy's tackling ability. You know what I mean? But it might be one guy, you know what I mean, on the team, like one right tackle or one left, you know, defensive end, you know, something like that. And so that's not going to make him experience what it's like to be an NFL quarterback. And yet he still ran more than he threw in those 11 starts. Get back to this one. Let's see. I hope that answered your question, John. Much love to you, brother. It's good to even just see your picture. I miss you guys. If we're going to roll with porn star Jimmy, then how about we take Hendon Hooker or Stetson Bennett? Those all do sound like porn names. I mean, they do. Starring Jimmy G-Spot, Hendon Hooker, and Stetson Bennett. Stetson sounds like something hard. Just Stetson. All the cowboys that are watching my show that know about Stetsons were probably just offended by that. My apologies. All right. So, no, if we're going to roll with porn star Jimmy, then how do we? No. Well, the Hendon Hooker thing sounds fine and good, but we can't all just file right into the camp of, well, everyone that tears their Achilles now, if we like that guy, it doesn't matter. You know what I mean? Go get him anyway. You know, we just all watched what happened with Zamir White. And before anyone says nothing happened with Zamir White, no. It's a little bit of X-Files conspiracy kind of stuff going on here, okay? Let me remind you that Zamir White played a couple games, then you didn't see him for a couple games. Then he'd play a couple games, then you didn't see him for a couple games. And that was not because he was injured. It was because he had calf tightness. I won't go over the whole thing again because you guys are my audience and I love you all. And so I know you remember when I said this a few shows ago, but he just, you know, you have to treat players like that with baby wheels. You know what I mean? With learning wheels and whatever you call those. It's been a long time for me. David Pell Cliva, what's up, brother? Welcome to the show. Tremaine Henson, what's up, Tremaine? Welcome to the show. Oh, look at all those beautiful kids. Matthew Lincoln said, keep hearing Odell and D-Hop to the Chiefs. Makes me throw up in my mouth. Well, Matthew Lincoln, see, in reality, that should show you what I'm saying when I say to viewers like you, we're not ready yet. See, when you say to me, you want to go after D-Hop, I would say, okay, you should do that. We have a number 2 slot available. Maybe we should do that. But then you also hear we're talking about DeAndre Carter, the young, small, squirt back kind of wide receiver that's coming out of the Chargers system. And he is nice. But my point is when you hear these rumors about this guy and this guy and this guy and this guy, you have to remember we don't have enough stability to know if getting those kind of expensive pieces will help us get over the finish line and then win a Super Bowl. See, but if you have a team that's already a contender for Super Bowls or, you know, won one, obviously, then now all you're doing is looking out at free agency and just getting a piece here, getting a piece there. This now has become that. And trying to retain people that you think give you chemistry and allow for your team to continue winning. Now, we're not at that point. We're just not at that point. So if you said to me, oh, shouldn't we go after those guys? Both of them. You get Odell Beckham Jr., you get D-Hop, we'll be good. We'll be explosive with a lot of holes still in the defense. And we will be able to outscore some teams. You know, I'm not a complete proponent of the idea of outscoring teams. I don't mind that. You know what I mean? But I don't want to, you guys, we have to be realistic. Our defense was second or third to last, like all season. Okay. Second or third to last. Max Crosby and Nate Hobbs and those guys, and there's more obviously now, they're going to go out there and they're going to cause some havoc, but you can't be ranked that low defensively. And then we just brush it off as, but look, we saw this and we do a good job on third down and we're starting to get pressure on the quarterback. No, it's got to all come together. And when I say no, I only mean let's get to 15th, just 15th best. It's 32 teams. That's halfway. If you just got to 15th, 18th best defense, now we're talking. Now you bring in a D-Hop, you got Devontae Adams, you start throwing the rock around, you score some points. Now the defense can do some things. Do you see what I mean? Because now we would still have money. By the way, speaking of money, I was asked the other night about cap space. Cap space right now is $27.7 million. We have a carryover of $6.7 million of unused cap space. So that added the little extra bump on. So again, that's $27.7 million still in cap space. And so obviously most of you know this, but for those of you who don't, that's a lot of money because you hear people getting these signing bonuses and they're all more than $27 million. But what you have to understand is that the money is escrowed through banks. So the team isn't expected to just shill out all that cash all at once. Now, when you watch ESPN, you know, some of you, they make you feel like it's that way, but it's not that fast. These players, then they show up the next day in sports cars and all that stuff. All of that's credit. It's not that they don't have the money. They just don't have it yet. So it's all what I refer to as is liquid money. It's real money. It's coming, but it's flowing from one place to another. And it takes a certain amount of time for it to get there. But in the meantime, you can buy something on credit and have a month to pay it off the first time, no matter what it could be, a Lamborghini. You know what I mean? But those checks on the month are going to hit. And then here you go. Here's 50,000. Here you go. Here's 80,000 and so on and so on. But Matthew Lincoln, again, I got long-winded, but I would say to you, the Chiefs doing that would be wise. It just would, even if they don't expect playing the guys very much. When you consider you're taking them away from your opponents and avoiding anyone that might reach you from the NFC who gets them in the playoffs and beats you. So I just think it's smart. Yes, we do have that tradition, but that was with Al. Now we have this idiot son and McStupid. You know, Jim Vanderlyn, welcome again. And I would say, Lance Sanfilippo, what's up, brother? Welcome to the show. Giants fan in the house. Everyone boo. Boo. No, don't. No. Stop typing that. Lance is a real good kid. Probably one of the most respectful viewers I've ever had. Okay, so Jim, I've said this. We're kind of doomed. I don't mean to be a pessimistic fan. I'm not saying it's all on Jimmy G or anything like that. Oh, it's the running game. No, it's none of that stuff. You never really see Tony make a dip. I appreciate the resubscription, brother. Welcome again to the show. And I would say to you this. Sons just don't normally do well following in their father's footsteps. And it's not to ratchet on, you know, all the sons out there. I didn't. My dad was a construction laborer and a union guy for like 35, 40 years. You know what I mean? And I did it for maybe 5. And the money was great, but it was tearing my body apart. I don't know how he took it. But he took it, you know, all through my, you know, growing years. That's all he did was pour concrete. He used to have a saying when he'd meet people, I probably poured more concrete than you walked on. And when I saw him work, oftentimes it was true. And for those of you, just a little side note, whenever any one of you crosses the San Francisco Bridge and you see that one historic building that has the big pointer, my dad helped build that. He did a lot of the concrete work on that. And then one of the other ones that it's concrete and it goes up and it looks almost like a temple and then it's got a bell at the top. He helped with that too. So, and I don't want to make it sound like he was some water boy. When I say helped, I mean like he was a foreman pouring concrete. You know, he had a lot to do with the work that got done there. I was always really proud of that coming up as a kid. Kenneth Parsons, what's up, brother? Welcome to the show. Okay, let's see. Hello, Raider Ric Flair Bear. I like defensive tackle from Texas Tech and Pitt. But to me, they're tweeners. I like Siaki Ika. Sorry to everyone that's Polynesian Tongan that I just butchered that name. I apologize. Siaki Ika. He can swallow blocks and stuff the run. He's hard to move off the A and B gap. He will solidify the middle of the defense. What do you think? Well, what I think is with the fact that we just signed the big defensive tackle center, John Jenkins, away from the Dolphins, I think that that's a great idea because you would be bringing in a real just furniture mover in this kid we just picked up. And then now you go after the future and let him learn from that guy and see if he can take his job from him, if anything. Appreciate the love, Tony. Make it dip. And John Holland, let's move up on the draft. Just thinking. Rodney Fuller said, agreed. I appreciate that. Scotty Priest, I told Marissa Priest, it sounds like the Raider Bear got some now audio equipment. Mrs. Priest, come on. Mama Bear. Man, Scotty Priest's wife just gave me a shot to the... And it hurt. Gosh, I'm like adjusting in my jammies over here. She said, it sounds like the Raider Bear got some new audio equipment. Her reply was, thank God. Scott, you tell Mrs. Priest I appreciate that. And you too, brother. That was funny. I appreciate that. Oscar De Leon, man, you should see all the beautiful Raider fans, man. They all have their nice profile pictures up. I see all these babies. It's awesome. Let's see. John Leon, any new news on Anthony Richardson to the Raiders? John, the only reason why, and I'm sure you saw this and you're asking me if I dug on it, and the answer is yes. The only reason why you're hearing more news about the Raiders and Anthony Richardson again is because there is truth to the fact that the Raiders have reached out to him and his camp, his family, and him himself yet again. That's right, yet again. From what I understand, it's the third time. And the very first time they sent 3 coaches to his place. Now, again, we have to be careful. This could all be subterfuge. That's right. No, look it up. No, I'm not. No, see, this isn't school. Okay. If you want to know what it means, look it up. Subterfuge. Okay. Now, what does it mean? I have to explain it. It means they're doing one thing while in the reality getting ready to do another. Spy game stuff. And so could this be a real hard play to get someone to come up and get him instead of Will Levis? Who, by the way, is the only quarterback, just about the only quarterback the Raiders didn't visit. Subterfuge. No, it is. I'm telling you, it is. There's no way they're not interested in that guy. No way. Okay, so for him to be the only quarterback they didn't talk to, that's a sign. I don't think they're playing poker well because that tell is obvious. But the fact that they're moving on Anthony Richardson, talking to him again, they're trying to raise his stock a little bit more and get one of these teams like the Colts or maybe Seattle that's trying to gamble and get up in front of them. And even if they're successful, this is like their fail-safe plan. Hype the other guy, gaslight Anthony Richardson, and maybe one of these teams gets tempted into, what if the Raiders are right? And if we take Will Levis, we don't get the guy of the future, Mr. Michael Vick 2.0, and instead we get Will Levis, who ends up being, Kirk Cousins. I rip on Kirk Cousins way too much on this show. I make so many times I use Kirk Cousins as my example. Is this guy over here that sucks? You know what he's going to be like in the NFL? Kirk Cousins. Going to tease you. There's truth to it, though. Tony make a dip. He is an idiot. I can't handle Mark Davis. I really can't. But at the same time, I what can you really do? I mean, if you're Al Davis and you have kids, they're going to run your franchise. You know what I mean? There's just no way in blue living hell that anybody that had that coming to them as an inheritance would say, oh no, I don't want to do that. I mean, there's just no way. I don't care. You could be a piano teacher and be like, I own the Raiders now. You know what I mean? You'd hold on to that one. Wouldn't it be some if Brady bought the team? Travis Kelly, I got to be honest with you. That's the only way I do like the idea. I don't like him coming to us. I don't like him coming to us as a quarterback. I don't like this idea that he would now come back because Charles Woodson kind of floated the idea. What if Raider Nation accepts Tom moving forward as the guy who's coming to win us a Super Bowl for having cost us a Super Bowl? Okay, first, Charles, stop talking to that man. Okay, just walk away from him. I realize you played in college with him. You guys were Michigan Wolverines. I'm digging it. That was a long time ago. That was a long time ago, man. And you know you're bitter about the tuck rule like everyone else. Anyway, but if he came back and was an owner and was trying to get us championships and was basically saying, hey, I know the way, I can do this. Mark doesn't know the way. He doesn't have the drive. He's just a guy, that's been busted for cocaine multiple times. Whoops, did I let that slip out? Cocaine user. Was a cheapskate, didn't pay his cheerleaders. You don't pay your cheerleaders. Come on, man. He didn't pay his cheerleaders so much so that the ladies had to sue him. I mean, come on. And he didn't settle out of court. He made the whole thing go through. He made the ladies beat him. That's ridiculous. You know what I mean? But there it was, and he owes Oakland for parking money and dues that he has contracts. He didn't pay the money. So, all right, whatever, Shady Brady. If you're going to buy the team, buy it. But bring us touchdowns. I'd hate to have the Raiders not be owned by the Davis family, but Mark needs to go. Rodney Fuller, welcome to the show. And I can't say what you said any better. I can't say it any better. If we didn't, Rodney, let me pitch this to you and everyone else watching. If we didn't know how Mark would do, like let's say this was year one and Al Davis just died last year, we would all support him. We would all uplift Mark. I mean, I know you're already saying yes. I know you're literally bobbing your head. Raider Bear, you're right. But it's true. I mean, there is literally no doubt we'd support him because let's go. Remember, we did. You know what I mean? But he's had 11 years, going on 12 years now. You know what I mean? Running the franchise. He's had 2 winning seasons. I mean, and that's 2 winning seasons that ended in embarrassing defeat. You know what I mean? A run in the playoffs with a first round, we get booted by the Texans who were garbage that year. I mean, they were terrible. And then and then I don't know what the other one was, but it was just, damn, man. Or against the Bengals. And then the other one was just this recent one against the Bengals. Ted Thane, what's up, Ted? The only free agent I didn't really care for was Jimmy G, but I get why they brought Jimmy in. I think what they've done is set themselves up to be able to draft whoever the best player available is in each round. Ted, I agree with that too, because they have addressed a lot of it. They've brought in wide receivers, they brought in running backs, they brought in linebackers, they brought in defensive tackles, et cetera, et cetera. So that's a lot of addressing issue. We brought in corners, we brought in safeties. So they're bringing in a lot of guys, free agent, veteran guys that are going to get an opportunity to work for us. And in the meantime, now you can look at certain positions of need and that highest value on the board at the time. So, for example, if the best cornerback or third best cornerback in the country is available and one of our third round picks is up, hey, man, you go get that guy. You know what I mean? No matter who we may have in house right now playing corner, try to get better. You know what I mean? So I see us doing that. I really do. I see us doing that. I think that there's a very high likelihood that the only movement we make with 7 is the move at 3. If we don't make a deal with the Cardinals, then you won't see us make a move. In fact, I would go as far as saying as once we get to pick number 3, if the Raiders don't somehow make a deal with the Cardinals and get that pick, we're probably going to drop down. We'll probably drop down because even though I want Skoronski, the huge offensive lineman, and I wouldn't mind them paying for him at 7, there's no point in doing that because you don't have to have the absolute best offensive lineman in football. There's 10 guys that could compete for that title. You see what I'm saying? There's a lot of good offensive linemen out there, guys. And so we just have to nail it on 1 or 2 of them. That's it. Nathan Matthews, what's up, brother? Welcome to the show. No one's safe. It's true, Tony. Mr. Bear, the first Saturday in June is National Black Bear Day. I like to think of myself more as a brown bear, I will say this, with Brady buying a part of the Aces, I wouldn't hate him buying a part of the Raiders eventually. He's too competitive to just sit back and not do whatever he needed to do to win. Ted, I would say again, I kind of see your logic. You know what I mean? As As an owner, that's different. He's not in the day-to-day business of the Raiders. We wouldn't see him all the time. In fact, we probably see him less than we see Mark. You know what I mean? He's going to probably be a more of a reclusive owner. And I personally, I like that. I don't want to get all huggy with you. Yet you see Mark Davis at Raider events, with super fans, and that's fine and all, but it's not normal. You just don't see other owners doing that. And if you do, you see it once in a while. You know what I mean? I don't know. I never really thought that was cool for him to do that. We love you. The Ms. Raider, the Mizu Queen is working, but I will relay the love and love your thoughts on the draft and pick number 7. I'm getting hype. Yeah, John. I think no matter what we have to focus on is that no matter what pick we do make at 7, it's going to really improve the Raiders. It really will, unless they make some backwards decision, which obviously is possible. But for example, there's a linebacker, the kid from I think Iowa. I want to mention. I can't remember his name. Excuse me, but he's considered the number 1 linebacker in football. He could be sitting on the board at 7. You know what I mean? Because there's so much talk about offensive linemen, quarterbacks, wide receivers that he could be sitting there. If he is, I'm saying, hey, pull the trigger. You know what I mean? Because there's high bust potential with linebackers, but usually not with the best in the country. You know what I mean? I don't think this guy's going to turn into Brian Bosworth. You know what I mean? I would just go with that. I agree completely. I'm waiting for Williams. Get Levis this year. The more I watch him, the more I like him. 10. And honestly, I just feel like you have to be like good clay. Now, Anthony Richardson is really good clay because you get so many skills and tools from him that you can't teach. The speed, the power, the flexibility, the sight when he's running and being able to see sight lines and make guys miss without getting hit hard, which thus far he's been able to do. I don't like the odds of that at the NFL level, but we'll see. Now, having said that, Will Levis is the opposite of that, but still just as competitive, in my opinion. Not the mobile runner that Anthony is. I understand that. Sorry, I've got a fire alarm going off. My mom or my daughter is cooking in the kitchen. But truth be told, thank you. But truth be told, right now, okay, just checking. So just one moment. I'll go right back to what I was saying. And good? Okay. Will Levis brings like molded clay. He's already got the arm. He's already got the knowledge of playing quarterback and dealing with defensive linemen and so on, and pressure and how to roll in the pocket. All those things you start picking up in high school. Okay. So he's got that. But more importantly, he's, got the little things. He understands 3-step drops. He understands taking the ball from center. He's not coming from an offense where it's all shotgun, 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 like you see oftentimes with some of these teams. So I would say to you that Will Levis, to me, is the greatest, has the greatest ceiling, in my opinion, even higher than Anthony Richardson's. Because even though Anthony Richardson, I think, is the greater athlete, I don't know if he's as good with accuracy, and I don't know if you can really teach that. That's kind of a given thing. It's like the same thing with speed. You either have great speed or you don't. I can't teach you speed. I can teach you strength and make you a little faster. I can teach you technique in how you run and then make you a little faster again. But as far as like God-given speed, guys who run 4.40s and so on, you got to have that or you just don't have it. You know what I mean? Whereas Will Levis has the arm, he's accurate, he knows the position, and he can be taught the offense slowly with Jimmy Garoppolo in front of him. Jimmy Garoppolo justifies letting Will Levis sit for a minimum of a full year. See, I don't mind how the Steelers did it with Kenny Pickett. I've said that on other shows. But I would really rather if we picked up a Will Levis or Anthony Richardson, I don't want to see them in the first year. I just don't. Preseason, okay. You can let him do a little bit of that. But other than that, I don't want to see him in the regular season. And I don't want gadget plays where you bring him in every once in a while to run the ball on 3rd and 3, not stupid stuff like that. You know what I mean? If they bring him in, again, like the Steelers did, not necessarily complimenting the Steelers, it could have been any team, but they just happen to be my most recent example I can give you. And that's just this. The Steelers basically waited until, what was it? I'm guessing again, but I know it was either mid-year or a little bit further into the year than mid-year. And they had that guy Brukowski or whatever his name is. That was, another bust quarterback pick of the Niners. I wanted to see if Niner Beto was watching. I was waiting for the womp, 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 womp. But we'll see. I think Will Levis. I mean, and again, those of you who know me know I've been saying Will Levis for days. So, Bear, do you think? Oh, hold on. Raiders! My show's almost over, so I had to get one in. Although we have a solid 20 minutes, so I can rock a lot in 20 minutes. Okay. So, Bear, do you think if McIdiot doesn't make the playoffs this year, he's gone? Because I'm hoping he would be. Carlos, here's a problem. Love you, brother. Brace yourself. I see your profile picture you took in your car. You're not. If you're driving, pull over before I say this. Everyone watching Raider Nation, pull over for a second. But the truth is, this is just the truth, okay? We don't know exactly the exact deal. In other words, we don't know exactly how much he's paid. We don't know exactly how many years are in it, et cetera, et cetera. But Josh McDaniels has made it very clear that Mark Davis made it clear to him that he sees him in a 4 to 5 year window, making a winner, a consistent winner. And then by then he'll have that. So Mark's implying he's willing to wait 5 years. And then, Josh McDaniels reiterated that. So we're looking at 5 years, win or lose. Because in what he's done is he's convinced Mark Davis that as an owner, you have to be patient and let the sauce cook. You can't just think year by year by year. Don't give me a winner right now. No, I'm building it. That first year, did it with picks. Second year, I'm working on the offensive line. Third year, defense. I got my quarterback, free agency. Okay, let's go. Now in year 3, year 4, you start to look for the progress. Well, we've only got 1 year under our belts with Josh McStinky. So it's going to be a minute, before we get out from under this guy. Lance Sanfilippo said, do you think Darren Waller has good hands when he's healthy? Lance Sanfilippo, I would say to you, and I'm being honest because I know what you're doing. You're a Giants fan and you want to evaluate what you have. I would say to you that you have one of the most dangerous weapons in football. I mean that seriously. He has wide receiver speed and tight end size. That's unblockable. People can say what they want, but that's unblockable. Because if you slide a corner down, all you have to do is throw the ball high and the corner can't do anything about it. If you slide a linebacker on him, the linebacker can't run with him. So you just have to wait for the linebacker to stumble slightly and Darren pulls away. And then you just throw the ball out in front of him. Darren Waller is a mismatch nightmare for defensive coordinators because you can counter almost anything. I'll give you an example. And this is deep football, so forgive me for a second. But if you go up to the line of scrimmage as a quarterback and you have Darren Waller on your right and you see the defense and you see what you think they're going to do. And then as you're just getting down, the play clock's only got like 8, maybe 10 seconds left. They shift. When the defense shifts, they bring the linebacker over and shadow Darren Waller. Okay, fine. Now I'm going to motion him to the left side. I don't even have to change the play. I can just pick up my foot. I can tell him before I go into the play. If I pick up my foot and I motion call for you, motion from one side to the other and reline up. Now I mess with them. Does the linebacker come with me? Now it shows me they're in man. Now I recognize their defense before I'm pre-snap recognizing what they're in. If it's a blitz, he's right there. I know him. I see him. He followed my tight end, etc. If he doesn't, then I know they're probably in zone because if he doesn't follow the tight end, that means he's protecting that side of the field, probably not even blitzing me. So see, there's 1,000 things that go on in those few 20 seconds that a quarterback has to read and evaluate and go. Part of the reason why I was really concerned about Anthony Richardson, but from what I've heard, he's actually a student of the game. And I really heard those words used with him, that everyone's going to be startled when they realize that he's a cerebral quarterback. This is not a guy with his tattoos and his muscles that's going to show up and be gangster boy and he's dumb. You know what I mean? Which is far too often the stereotype applied to people like me who are black and have tattoos. But in truth, he is extremely intelligent. He showed in his very first game as a starter that he could pre-snap, read defenses, see shifts, and then audible adjust and attack that shift. So if he's got at least that down, then I'm interested. I worried if he'd have that down, but it sounds like he has that down. Darren Waller will be great for you, Lance. Troy Gill, if Carter on the defensive line really does fall to 7, you have to pull the trigger. You have to. So I'm basically saying the Raiders are making a mistake if he gets to 7 and they let him go by. It would be a huge mistake for 2 reasons. One, even if you don't intend to keep him, you could draft him just to be able to trade him as a trade piece later on. Or 2, and more importantly, you can do what I think. You keep the guy because he's a franchise player. I mean, this guy is the second coming of Khalil Mack. He's got that same motor. He's going to bring it. Now, we got to be careful and remember, I just said it myself, what you see from the college ranks and that video and so on. It's exciting. It's cool. It gives you an idea of how the guy plays, but that does not mean what he did in the coaching ranks. I can't talk. On the college rank level, that doesn't mean that's going to translate to the NFL because oftentimes it doesn't. I'd still pull the trigger, though. I kind of agree. If Carter's at 7, I think you just got to do it. We need a player who knows how to play and not be taught. I don't think we can teach where we are now with coaches. Dustin King, not only do I agree with that, it's too much to teach. Because while the kid is thinking in his mind, okay, coach said to make sure to go through my progressions. And before he even gets that sentence out in his head, someone's going to be hitting him or at the very least, showing him what looks like pressure coming with a spin and his offensive lineman stumbling to keep him, that's just a fact. I don't like doing this, but just look at Robert Griffin III. He is a case study for this of an athletic African-American coach that comes in and is just simply ill-suited for the NFL by no fault of his own. He just was never coached. When they're at this college level, the coach accepts the quarterback exactly as what he is. And usually that's what he was in high school. So if you come into the college ranks and you've only ever got the ball from shotgun, guess what offense your college coach is going to run? Shotgun. And then he's going to offer you off to the NFL after you win the Heisman and everyone thinks you're the best. And you look up at your NFL coach and go, I've never taken a ball from a man's butt before. It's like, no, wait, what? You've never taken a snap from center. You've never taken a snap from center. And obviously the word never is, it wasn't really never. He did occasionally because, they would do like a 1-yard sneak and things like that. So it's not that he never got the ball from center, but I mean, it was, a play here and a play there. You know what I mean? That's it. Not 47 plays like he was running from shotgun. Give me a break. Levy's is left Penn State because he wasn't going to be a starter and he should have been. Our coach isn't the sharpest tool in the shed. Jim Vanderlyn, I agree with that. And sometimes that happens. Sometimes guys fall through the cracks. Jesse Cardenas, what's up, brother? Welcome to the show. Vincent Rubalcaba, what's up, brother? Welcome to the show. Appreciate that, brother. Salute back. Let's see. Raider Rick Flair, my surprise players are Sincere McCormick and Cam Jones and Jacoby Myers and Austin Hooper. Surprise players. Okay, I would say Cam Jones wouldn't be a surprise, and I would say Austin Hooper wouldn't be a surprise. I only disagree with you with those two. Now, if Jacoby Myers plays well, that'd be a surprise. He was never really a great player for the Patriots. He's just good, and he knows the offense that Josh is going to run, so he's brought in for familiarity. But there's a chance he could flourish and then maybe reinvent his career and get, another year or two out of it, playing for us. But outside of that, he's probably out of the league. We picked up a lot of people lately. I'm sure a few of them will pan out. Let's go Raiders. Yeah, I could give you a few of them. John Jenkins, the defensive tackle for the Miami Dolphins, that hurt. The Dolphins the Dolphins all but admitted that hurt. They didn't like that. Keelan Cole, we re-signed, which is a great move. We know he knows our offense. Duke Shelley, a hard-nosed, tough cornerback that doesn't have big statistic numbers as far as interceptions and things like that. But again, another locker room guy that the Vikings are sorely missing. And again, they all but said it. Austin Hooper, tight end, physical guy, can block real well, big guy. Also in his career, he's gone for 3,468 yards. That's pretty nice. He was a Pro Bowler in 2018 and 2019. I like Austin Hooper. Now, David Long, the cornerback from the Los Angeles Rams, I have my questions there with him. But we'll see how that goes. When you consider he'll be in a locker room with Brandon Faison, Nate Hobbs, and Amik Robertson, they're going to probably get the best out of him. And then I was saying Cam Sims, the former Washington Commander, that guy's got wheels, but he's 6'5", 220 pounds. So in addition to being a genuinely fast guy, he's a big dude, man. And so being our number 2 in the red zone at 6'5", 220, all you got to do is throw it up. He's going to come down with those. Joaquin Johnson, safety, formerly of the Buffalo Bills, formerly of the number 1 defense, Buffalo Bills. So I like that. I like the addition. Had a high Pro Football Focus number in 60 career games. He has 2 interceptions and 2 pass defense in 30 and 39 tackles. 21 were solo, by the way. OJ Howard, huge blocking tight end. I don't think he was brought in to be a pass catcher. Way smaller numbers than Austin Hooper. So Austin Hooper is going to be the throwing target. OJ Howard is going to be the blocking tight end. But at 6'6", I mean, I feel like I'm a tall guy, and that's a lot taller than me. But 6'6", 251 pounds. That's a moose of a man. So, I mean, he's going to be good for us. Because how hard is it? I mean, we're going to be asking him to work with the outside right tackle to block. I mean, every time you put a tight end in that position, if the tight end is even half his worth in blocking, they're going to, you're going to excel there. And so with this guy being a very good blocker and OJ Howard, forget it. And he's huge. Forget about it. We're going to be able to keep Jimmy clean. I think that's already settled. With OJ Howard, whoever we get at right tackle, and Colton Miller on left tackle, I think we're pretty good. Because although you're going to get pressure on our guards, you're probably not going to get too many sacks on our guards. There's a reason why Aaron Rodgers is so special. I mean, not Aaron Rodgers. Aaron Donald is so special, the huge interior defensive tackle for the Rams. It's because he's one of the few guys in the league who really does get interior pressure and get sacks. Very few of those guys do that. Most of them, your defensive tackles, most of them are more, they play the run. They stuff the run, and they keep the other team from having a comfortable run average, of 4.8 or 5.3. They keep them in the 2.2, 1.7, and suddenly now throw the ball. And now they made things easier for their secondary. One of the only head scratchers to me was breaking up the threesome we had of Trent Sieg, AJ Cole, and Daniel Carlson on special teams. We've let go of Trent Sieg, and we have a new long snapper in Jacob Bobenmoyer. I don't have any problem with him. He's a former Bronco. We're only paying him $3 million. So he can, probably bring us a little knowledge of the Broncos. Thank God, because we know they have a lot on us. Don't forget, we lost our backup quarterback to the Broncos, who, by the way, comes from living in Josh McDaniels' offense. Living in it. So that means when we face the Broncos, at least twice this year, they're going to know our offense front to back. Because if you think Josh McStinkybutt is clever enough to even make audibles or even do cadence changes, I don't think so. He'll just expect it to still work. I'd be willing to bet you money on it. Also, we re-signed Jermaine Elemenor. That's a big deal. I don't care how people feel about that, because I've had people really come at me, Jermaine Elemenor, blah, blah, blah. He played well for us in spot duty. He really did. A couple starts, he played well. Gave up a couple sacks, but didn't get his quarterback hurt, and then finished the game well. I like Jermaine Elemenor. If for nothing else, if you do get a better player than him, you put him on the bench, or you pair him up with OJ Howard. Now you got a rock wall, on that right side, and Josh Jacobs doing what Josh Jacobs does, and Jimmy G staying clean, if that's possible. Ronis Grasu, I love that name. He's our new center we picked up. Actually re-signed. He's been with us before. Curtis Bolton, linebacker. Should be nice. Former Steeler, a run gap guy. But I will be bluntly honest with you. He's not a pass guy. So he's not going to be able to pick up Darren Waller if we're playing the Giants. He's not that kind of linebacker. Jerry Tillery is the returning guy that we signed from the Chargers. He showed a lot of promise. I think that he could really add something to our line. Roderick Teamer, obviously good player, was good for us last year. Good for us the last couple of years. Will be good again. Philip Dorsett, wide receiver. I'm interested in that one. This is the guy we brought in that has the real speed. So whether we get Hopkins or whoever, on the left side. We already have Philip Dorsett in the house at wide receiver. The guy's a 4.25 40. That is your rear end on fire running. Okay, so you pair that with Devontae Adams, and you got to honor that speed. That means that they have to sometimes play a cover 2 shell and leave Devontae on a one-on-one island, and we all know how that ends. Favorably for us. We re-signed fullback Jacob Johnson. So again, good sign. Powerful fullback, 6'3", 255 pounds. Love that guy. Now here's our second linebacker signed, Robert Spillane. And we really didn't, from what I understand, we really didn't have to pay him that much money. So now you add Spillane to Divine Diablo, Luke Masterson, Darren Butler. I mean, now you're getting somewhere. You know what I mean? Now you got some guys in the building that can play. You pair that with Curtis Bolton. Now you might have something, at least. Because remember, like I was saying, you don't have to be the best, just good. You don't have to be the best, just good. I can't believe we gave Jacoby Myers $33 million. That's ridiculous. 21 guaranteed. Man, he raked us over the coals. Yeah. I'm just, I'm looking at some stats and things about him. I'm just like, ugh. But they're basically even saying though that even Jacoby Myers, no matter how good or bad he may be, they're saying basically with the play action and how well Josh Jacobs runs the ball, that's actually going to help Jacoby Myers instead of the other way around, where you usually want the wide receivers to cause so much havoc that the defense has to pay so much attention to them that when you do call run plays, now your running back squirts right through the line and gets a 12-yard carry. I think with Josh Jacobs, he actually enhances the likelihood that Myers gets more catches because he'll be on an island more often with just one guy. I like that logic. Excuse me. And then the returning Brandon Faison, back from the Colts, 1 year with us, then with the Colts. Now he's back. Knows the building, knows this team, and in the short reps we saw, I liked Brandon Faison. I'm going to be honest with you. He was one of those guys that I stood up and said, if we really give this guy time and let him grow in this defense, we will have something. I like Brandon Faison. I'm hoping that he proves me right, because when he was here the first time, it went well, but not great. He was good, but it was okay. Then he was like out a couple times because he's like hurt his hand and stuff like that, or his foot. And then he'd be back and play all right. So he never really brought what was me saying, hey, I'm Raider Bear picking my knowledge visually and my understanding of players. That guy's going to be good. And I said that about Brandon Faison. So I want to make that clear, because unlike a lot of other hosts and, people who brag on their podcast, they always want to be heard when they're right, but never want to acknowledge when they're wrong. I don't mind saying if I'm wrong, I'll say it, but I don't think I am. And I just don't think this proved it. I don't think his time with the Colts proved it, although he did play well for the Colts. Look it up. He played well for the Colts. Not to mention he's a big corner, 6'2", 197 pounds. So if you need to, you can slide him down. Now, unfortunately, 6'2", 197 pounds, that's essentially me. I'm 6'3", 188. So he's not much bigger than I am. But with that kind of speed, though, and ability, I'd like to see what he can do. I just wanted to show off, tell everybody, I'm the size of an NFL player. And then Marcus Epps, although I didn't love the signing at first, it's cheap, a 2-year deal for $12 million. And if you look him up, again, it's Marcus Epps, EPPS. If you look up Marcus Epps, you'll see he has what we hoped we were going to get from Jonathan Abram and never got. Remember, we all wanted Jonathan Abram to be a thumper, a guy that can cover a tight end once in a while without penalizing him, holding. And then whenever it's a run play, see it like a hawk and sail in and smash fools, which, he was good for, occasionally when he would make the right read. But too often, unfortunately, we all know, I'm not, saying any news, breaking any news here. He would misread the call often, and then would misread wide receivers' routes and would get caught on islands by himself, guarding no one and nothing. You know what I mean? Whereas with Epps, you have a much more cerebral, again, I give him that compliment of saying he's cerebral. He's a thinking safety. although he comes down and he'll hit you, he won't come out of his responsibility. So even if you shift from the right to left and then the left side's his responsibility, even if he thinks it's going to hurt the team, he won't gamble. He'll understand, stay in the principle of the defense. You know what I mean? Of course, unless the coach told him, but I know he's that kind of player. He will stay in his discipline. And then last but not least, I just did this whole review about all the players we brought in. You have Jimmy Garoppolo at quarterback. Now, at the end of my show, I want to give everyone this little bit of hope by saying this. Tim Hecklock, I hope Hendon Hooker is available too, to be honest with you. I want to give everyone at the end of the show this hope and saying this. I think that there is a very high likelihood that Jimmy Garoppolo can win with us if we continue to do what I'm seeing right now. And it does look like he's building the team around Jimmy's skill set to win that year, this upcoming season that Jimmy comes in. Now, why am I saying that? Because he's bringing not just players that fit Jimmy's skill set, receivers that are used to shorter running routes that have to get open quickly from somewhere inside of 7 to 10 yards. You have to start making your breaks and getting your chest exposed to Jimmy in case he needs to throw the ball early. Because Jimmy's the kind of quarterback that will throw the ball early because he's trying to avoid the big impact. Because with the way the rules are now, he knows, like every other quarterback knows, if he releases the ball, they don't even give defensive ends the 2 steps now. If you get there, you can touch him, but you can't whack him. You can't knock him to the ground unless it's razor close to when he releases the ball. So if we really do have Jermaine Elemenor, OJ Howard, and they play well and they shut down that right side, and and Colton Miller is, just keeps being Colton Miller, Jimmy's going to have time. And we're going to be surprised at what we might be able to do with this offense. Now, obviously, that's not our greatest concern. Defense is our greatest concern. But we've brought in 2 very solid linebackers, a safety that's great against the run, a defensive tackle from the Dolphins that's fantastic against the run. And in his prime, they didn't want to lose this guy. So, and the wide receiver Cam that we brought in from the Washington, formerly Redskins, you dirty Washington Commanders. All right, guys, that's my show. That is my show. Shout out to our armed forces, Army, Navy, Air Force, Marines, National Guard for all you do. The energy and love of this show is dedicated to your sacrifice. Active and veteran, much love. Denton Rhodes and Space Force, of course. Much obliged. Welcome all. And one more time, I want to say, please like and follow me on YouTube and on Facebook. You can subscribe to Raider Bear Live. And if you would, on YouTube, click that bell so you know when I'm coming on. Raider Bear talking about Raider football. Much love, all that other stuff. Peace.